All right, welcome to the first video that I'm making for homeschool. Okay, so I'm practicing making videos, so I thought it'd be fun to try some arts and crafts to get us started. We're gonna be making window stars. You can see my window star behind me there. So if you kind of remember, we were learning about how light travels through objects. So you can see it travels through certain colors and it overlaps, so you can see where the paper overlaps, it's darker. I'm using a special kind of paper. It's called kite paper. This just happens to work really well for this project. It's kind of a waxy consistency, and you can see it's translucent. It lets the light through. If you can't get kite paper, I thought we might try, I don't know, what's lying around the house. And these are all ideas for you to just go with and see what you can come up with. You can get kite paper online. Amazon has it sometimes. There's a website called Bella Luna that sells us. It's like $10 for 100 sheets. So it depends. You may or may not be able to get some kite paper if you want to play around with this. I was thinking about windows because we're all locked inside. We are locked indoors at home, and I keep coming across Twitter posts or news stories that have to do with how windows are becoming important as we're all sort of stuck at home. I just saw a news article about a kid who was really sick, and all these people were entertaining him from outside of his window. A lot of different cities kids are putting up rainbows outside windows and hanging banners. Some kids around Queens in New York, they are going on scavenger hunts around their neighborhoods looking for all the, and making maps of where they're finding windows, rainbows and things. So people in nursing homes can't visit with their family, so a lot of people are going up to the windows of their family members that are in the nursing home, and they're talking and writing messages and putting them up to their windows. So the window creates this barrier, but it's also a safe place to communicate through our windows. So if you live with neighbors nearby and you decorate your windows, that might be a cheery way to brighten your neighborhood. So that's why I'm doing this. Also, so I can learn how to make videos on YouTube, so that maybe in a couple weeks we'll be doing school. Okay, so what materials do you need to try to make some stars for your windows? I mentioned the kite paper, and this was the full-size sheet that I actually cut into 4. I'm gonna make a tiny star. Like I said, you could try with what's laying around the house. You could try with tissue paper. That's a lot thinner. The kite paper has a really nice consistency. It's really easy to work with. Origami paper would work. If you want to try some different scraps around the house, we get at my house the merchandiser. So, we know that you can, if you fold the paper into, if you fold it from the corner and line up the edges, I think you all know how to make, that would be like half a square. So I just did that, and then I cut a piece out, and I cut a bunch of pieces. So you could try that. I don't think it lets as much light go through, but you could maybe paint it or color it. So that could be an alternative. You're basically going to make 8 kites like this. So I'll show you how to make a couple of those. What you need to do first is find the center point of the paper. So you know that if we fold it this way, and then again the opposite way, so if you fold it by diagonals, then you can find the center point. You can do the same if you fold it longwise and shortwise. Either way, those will give you the center points. I think that's a special thing that happens with a square. So once you find the center points, then each corner will fold into the center. So just want to try when you're folding, take your time and try to get it as closely lined up as possible. The edges are there as a guide. These edges will match up and then they'll match in the center. So once you fold in the 4 corners, those are pretty simple folds. And then really, if you turn it at an angle, you're really just gonna have 2 more folds folding these corners in to make a kite, which I'm guessing maybe you've done these folds somewhere before. And those edges will meet right along that center line. And you have a kite. One side will open up like this, and the other side will be smooth and flat. Okay, so you need 8 of those. My star is a rainbow. You can do any pattern or color combo that you want. Okay, so I realized while I was gluing that the center line is going to be easier to find if you fold them this way. It's a one-handed fold. When you do the diagonals and you fold your triangles, you can sort of see the center line, but these crisscrosses are there because I folded the paper diagonally. So if you want your center lines to stand out a little bit more, which will make the gluing easier, you're going to want to find the center point of the paper by folding them this way first. So you'll want a crisscross like this, then you fold the corners in, and then that will show you an easier center line. Okay, so we're back. I have 8 kites. I decided to make a different color pattern. So the hardest part about all this is trying to figure out where to align the 2 pieces. The center line here is the guide, and you can see I just rotate it I don't know, I think 45 degrees maybe. And I rotate it like this, and I align up the center line with this small edge. And then you might want to lay them out before you glue them just to make sure you figured it out. So this center point, they will all line up here like this. That's how they line up, if you can start to see that pattern. You want to make sure these lines are straight along the center line that goes all the way up, because that's how you'll make an 8-point star. You could, of course, play around with other designs, but this is these designs are for 8-point stars. Okay, so the other tool you'll need is some glue. You can use paste. You could use white glue, but it might be it'll take longer to dry. As we already talked about, this is how they line up. You just rotate it in that fashion and then line up along that center line. You want to, I like to glue to the front and you just need glue in about this much area. I like to glue from the front because it's just easier to use the glue stick. And then so I sort of look at that point, that central point where they're all 8 are gonna meet. And then I sort of look at that center line and just crease it down. On the front, it'll all be smooth. On the back, there'll be flaps, but that's just how it goes. So then you just rotate it, and the next one, whatever pattern you're using, again, I just do like a quick little turn. It's not a full quarter turn. I think it's just about a 45-degree turn, and it just will go just like that. And I'm gonna keep gluing. I'm not gonna videotape all of the gluing, and I'm gonna come back to the last step because that's when you have to do something tricky at the end. So if you kept going, this one overlapped, right? When you got to the very last one and you glued it down. But to complete the pattern, you're gonna want to lift that one on top, and then you'll see you'll get that, that continuous pattern around. So like again, when you get that last one on, it's gonna be on top, but if you flip it to go underneath, then you'll see that it completes the pattern where we have the white, red, white, yellow. Okay, and then you just put the glue down for that final point, and then you've made your window star. So I'm making a little star. I took some colored paper and broke them into 4 parts. I was folding it and then trying to rip it, but it was starting to, I found the easiest way is to fold it so that I know that it's even. If I fold this in half, I'll have 2 equal parts. And then that will give me a cutting line. I think that cutting is working better for me. So that's just a little tip I discovered.